Up until now, I've been doing games from big names: Adventure International, Tandy Radio Shack, Sierra Online, Microsoft, Infocom, names we should all recognize, and who may not have started out all that big, but grew to dominate various parts of the market. And I wanted to do something a little more small, an LP of something that would be considered an indie by today's standards. See, there was an entire market model that existed back then, and it worked like this. People at home would have or buy a microcomputer. They would then learn to program on it and eventually learn to program a game. And then they would write that game and try to market it. And there were many ways that they tried. Word of mouth, put up flyers around town, convince microcomputer shops to carry their product, take out ads in publication. All were viable methods, and all had some good and bad sides to them. But one of the more popular models was similar to how Steam works nowadays. They would submit their game to a distributor who would put it in their software catalog and market it for them for a cut of the profits. This was basically how the indie scene worked, and for a while, it worked very well. Unfortunately, due to the nature of this distribution system and the lack of good systematic documenting systems like exist now, there is rarely any information to find on the creators of these games, let alone the games themselves. Often the only information I'm able to find is an ad in a magazine or the photocopied page included in the Ziploc bag that the game itself was distributed in. This is the case with a man named Greg Hassett. What I've been able to find is a library of 12 titles, and though many of those titles are based directly off of existing work, we've seen how that can ruin a game by knowing all of the puzzles in advance, he wrote some original games as well. And though I'm not easily able to determine which was first, I can with some confidence claim that a game he wrote for the TRS-80 Model 1 cassette distribution, Enchanted Island, was his first non-derivative work. Now why pick this one? Why pick him? Simple, really. What I can find on him says he was 12 or 13 years old in 1979 when he wrote this game, a game he wrote in BASIC. And though he redid it in machine language and re-released it as Enchanted Island Plus in 1982, I really wanted to do a Let's Play with a BASIC game. Our objective takes us back to the origins of interactive fiction text adventures. Collect 11 treasures, return them to the treasure room, and type quit. Now for ease of use, I've converted this to a TRS-80 Model 1 floppy disk, but since it's in BASIC, we have to access it differently. If you've been following my work through the last year, you will have noticed I've done a lot of different games for us on the TRS-80 Model 1, but they've always either been loaded from a cassette or they've been loaded from a /cmd or a command file, which a quick directory 1 will show you. The file directory of this drive is a /bas or basic file, and we cannot load this the same way. We're going to come up with program not found. Instead, the way we run this is we have to go through the basic interface, how many files, and memory size. I just hit return on both of those, and now it brings up Radio Shack Disk Basic version 2.2. And there are multiple ways that we can load and run the program from here. The most basic version, of course, is to go load and then which will load the program into memory. When it tells us ready, we tell it to run. And as you can see, Enchanted Isle by Greg Hassett. I'm going to hit reset here so that we can look at it from a different style of loading. As you can see, we still have the same disk, and we tell it basic. How many files, memory size? So instead of telling it load Enchanted and then run, we are just going to do a shortcut and tell it run Enchanted /basic, and we can put the drive number in there if we wish, or we can run it without the drive number. And it should load directly into the program, Enchanted Isle by Greg Hassett. I'm on the shore of an island not far from Australia. Visible items, a sign. Obvious exits north, east, and south. We're going to start by reading the sign. And we're going to learn, it says bring treasures here and drop them, say score. Unlike the Adventure International games that we played early on, we do not have to go looking for where to drop the treasure. We just start there. In order to move around, we're going to do the standard north, south, east, and west typing, and as is normal for me, I've already mapped everything out in advance, but we're going to do this together. If you're following along, I hope you have as much fun doing this as I do. I'm going to start with going north. I'm walking along the shore of an island. Obvious exits are north and south. We're going to go north again. I'm in a thicket of tall grass. Visible items, some tasty food, some green liquid. Obvious exits are east and south. We want to get the food. Okay, and then we're going to go back the direction we came from, south. Along the shore of an island, go south again, back to where we started, and go east from the sign. I'm walking along a sandy beach. Visible items, a green bottle. Obvious exits are east and west. So we get the bottle, and we will find out later what to do with the bottle. Until then, we are now going to go east. Standing in an oasis near a sandy beach. Visible items, a palm tree. Obvious exits are east, south, and west. We need to climb the tree. I'm at the top of a palm tree. I can see a small jungle over to the south somewhere. Odd, I see no passage going to it. Visible items, a mean vulture, a golden feather. Notice how it marks the treasure the same way that Scott Adams marked his. We're going to use the food that we got to feed the vulture. The vulture swallows up the food and flies away. And then we get the feather. And then next we need to jump down. So we are back at the base of the palm tree. And then we go east. Walking along a path that extends north and west. We're going to go north. Walking along a long north-south path. Visible items, a big rock with writing on it. Obvious exits are north and south. The first thing we want to do is read the rock. It says, Slip war, Heracles' third labor. These are hints for later in the game. Slip war means to make the warlock slip, and Heracles' third labor, well, Heracles' third labor is where Eurystheus ordered Heracles to bring him the hind of Cyrinia. It's a deer from an area a little ways away from where he was, and it had gold antlers and hooves, which of course, that is going to be important later on. Let's break the bottle that we had. We do that on the rock. The bottle breaks and the broken glass vanishes. Something fell out. Try look. And it's telling us to look, so we will look. Notice there is now a small note. We're going to get the note and then read the note. Holy smokes, a tiger. Barbs like ban. More hints. There's a tiger later on in the game that we're going to need to use smoke on, and barbarians like bananas. And at this point we need to go and get ourselves a lantern. In order to do that, we need to go north. In a patch of tall reeds with obvious exits east and south. Since we came from the south, we're going to go east. Standing in a small depression in the sand. Visible items, an unlit lantern. Obvious exits are west. It's the only way to go after we get the lantern. So we're going to go west and then south. Back to the big rock with the writing on it. Go south again. And walking along a path that extends north and west with obvious exits north and west. Here we will go west. In an oasis near a sandy beach. This is back with the palm tree. And then go south again. Atop a sandy dune. Visible items are a dusty book. Obvious exits are north and east. If we read the book, we will get the hint that tells us about breaking the bottle. It says, try some other Greg Hassett adventures. They are Journey to the Center of the Earth, The House of the Seven Gables, Entry into King Tut's Tomb, Sorcerer's Castle, Voyage to Atlantis. Call Mad Hatter Software to place an order. 617-682-8131. Brebot, magic word, bimbo. In case you did not notice, Brebot is break bottle. Very simple, like it was written by a 12 or 13-year-old. We're going to go east here, walking along a rocky pathway that extends to the south and west. Obvious exits are south and west. We're going to go south. Beside a cascading waterfall, obvious exits are north and east. We are going to go east so that we can get ourselves a lighter. On the edge of a cliff, visible items, a Bic lighter. Obvious exits are north and west. Let's get the lighter. And then we are going to go for a little bit of a walk, which will take us back to the base where we dropped the treasures. So I'm just going to walk us there. West. And then north. West. And then north. West. And west. And here we're going to drop the feather. That is our first treasure in location. So let's go north. Walking along the shore of the island, and then go north again. This is where we originally got the food, and we're going to go east. Standing on a rocky flat, there's a cave opening to the north of me. It looks dark in there. Obvious exits are north and west. Now we can light the lamp here to go in, or we can go in, which is to the north, and we will see that it is too dark. So we are going to light the lantern, and it will remain too dark unless we look. I am not certain if there is a timer to this particular lantern, as there are in other games. But since I prefer to use the lamp as little as possible, I like to go in and then light it. I am in a majestic chamber which seems to serve as an entrance to a large cave. Obvious exits are north, east, and south. And here we are going to go north again, in a deep chasm with an alcove to the north. Obvious exits are north and south. We'll go north one more time. In an alcove to a huge chasm, obvious exits are north, east, south, and west. We're going to go west. In an eerie prison cell, visible items, a human skull. Obvious exits are east and south. The skull says, the ruby was Bimbo's. This is another hint. Let's go south. Dead end, visible items, a mammoth ruby. Obvious exits are north. We are going to get the ruby. And then, using the hint, we are going to say, Bimbo. I am engulfed in a dense cloud of gray smoke, then the smoke clears. I am somewhere else. Try look. I am in a wet forest, grass hut to the west. Obvious exits are east and west. We are going to go east. I am on the coast of an island. Visible items, Cuban cigars, a wild bear. Obvious exits are north and west. We do not want to get attacked by the bear. Instead, we are going to follow the time-honored advice. The best defense is a good offense, and attack the bear. The bear and I engage in a wicked battle, and amazingly, I win. The bear is dead. Say what you will, I believe this is inspired by the killing the dragon with one's hands. Let's get the cigars. And then go north. Walking along a sandy path, exits are north and south, so north being the only way we can go without doubling back. In a deep bamboo forest, the bamboo stalks here are 7 or 8 inches thick. Visible items, a bamboo post. Obvious exits are south and west. Let's get the post. We will need that for later. And then go west. This is where we're going to run into a tiger. In a bamboo forest, the stalks here are 6 inches thick. Visible items, a fierce tiger, a priceless giraffe skin. Obvious exits are east and south. Remember earlier, holy smokes, a tiger. The tiger hates smoke, so we will smoke the cigar. Okay, puff, puff, puff. The tiger smells the smoke, looks at me with disgust, and strolls away. We do not need the lighter anymore, so I'm going to drop it and then get the skin. We will go south from here in a small marsh. Obvious exits are north and west. Let's go west. In a forest looking south on a grass hut. Obvious exits are east, south, and west. Continue going west. Lost in a dark marsh. Obvious exits north, east, south, and west. Go west again. Lost in a dark marsh. Obvious exits in all directions. We will go north. I am lost in a dark marsh. Visible items. A jewel-encrusted coconut. Obvious exits north, east, south, and west. Let's get the coconut. I really would like to know who took the time to encrust a coconut with jewels. Let's go north. Lost in a dark marsh. All directions possible. We will go east. Lost in a dark marsh. Visible items, a banana. Let's get the banana. We can go north, east, south, and west. We are carrying too much. Let's have a look at our inventory. Carrying a shining lantern, a small note, the coconut, the cigars, the post, the ruby, and the giraffe skin. Of all those things, the one thing we do not need is the note. So let's get the banana. And then go on a little bit of a walk. West. Lost in a dark marsh. South. Still in the dark marsh. South. Still in the dark marsh. South. In a forest looking south on a grass hut. We can go east, south, or west. We are going to go south. In a small grass hut with exits to the north and east. Visible items, rare spices, a savage barbarian. Obvious exits are north and east. Remember the note that we just dropped a few moments ago? Barbs like ban, the barbarians like bananas. So let's feed the barbarian. The barbarian eats the banana and leaves. He drops the peel. Let's get the peel. The reason for that is obviously the rock saying slip war. And then we are going to say bimbo again. Engulfed in a dense cloud of gray smoke. When the smoke clears, I am somewhere else. Try look. In a sacred chamber deep within the caves. Visible items, a gold ring. Now, as much as I would like to get the ring right now, you will notice we're carrying too much, and we need everything that we are carrying. So we're going to end up coming back for this later. We have a very long walk ahead of us. So we're going to just do the walk. Going south. In a dark musty pit. All exits look the same except the one going north, but we're going to go south again. In a wide valley with a mossy growth covering the floor, and go west. In a radiant cavern with a ceiling about 40 feet above me. On the ceiling hangs ominous stalactites. Odd, there are no stalagmites on the floor here. We are going to go south. In a high cavern, the ceiling is so high I can't even see it. High above me glows a eerie red light. We're going to go west. Crawling through a rough sloping passage. Go west again. In a majestic chamber which seems to serve as an entrance to a large cave. Go south. Standing on a rocky flat, there's a cave opening to the north of me. It looks dark in there. Go west. In a thicket of tall grass, visible items, green liquid. South. Along the shore of the island and south again. And this should take us to where we drop our treasures. And we are going to drop them. Drop the coconut. Drop the skin. Drop the cigars. Check our inventory. Notice that we are going to continue carrying the ruby for now. The reason for that is obviously we need it as a transportation system. Let's go east. Walking along the sandy beach, go east again. This is where the palm tree that we climbed was. We're going to go south. Atop the sand dune with the dusty book. We're going to go east from here. Walking along a rocky pathway that extends to the south and west. Go south. Beside a cascading waterfall, go east. On the edge of a cliff, go north. Beside a hedge, north again. A pile of brush, and then we are going to go east. On Spygrass Hill, visible items, a wild deer. We want to hit the deer. This hits it with the post. The deer runs away but leaves something behind. Try look. Visible items, golden antlers. Let's get the antlers. And then go south. Standing on a shady spot near a large pile of brush, visible items, a silver key, a wicked warlock. Remember the hint earlier? I keep harping on slip warlock. So here we are going to drop the banana peel. The warlock slips and breaks his neck. Then he vanishes. Where we can get the key. And then we are going to go west. My error? We say bimbo first. And then we go west. Small grass hut with exits to the north and east, visible items, rare spices. We get the spices. And then go for a little walk north. In a forest, looking south on a grass hut. Go west. In the dark marsh, go west again. Still in the dark marsh, we're going to go north. In dark marsh and then go west. There's a growing grass ball here, so let's get the ball. And then go east. Still in a dark marsh, go east again. This is where we dropped the note. We are going to go north. And then west. In the dark marsh, but this time there is an iron pick on the floor. If we try to get the pick, you will notice that we are carrying too much. So let's drop the post. We do not need it anymore. And then get the pick. And then say bimbo. From here we are going to go south. In a dark, musty pit, passages leading out of here all look the same except the one going north. South again. In a wide valley with mossy growth covering the floor. West. This is the room with the stalactites but no stalagmites in it. We go west again. In the entry corridor, possibilities of going north and east. We're going to go north. Crawling through a tight passage leading south and west, we want to go west. In an alcove to a huge chasm. Now I want to show you something here. If we look at our inventory, notice we're carrying a lot of different things here, but I'm going to focus on the pick. Let's try throwing the pick. Sorry, Charlie. I can only throw the ball. Sorry, Charlie is a reference cultural to a commercial from the 70s for a tuna corporation. Since we can only throw the ball, though, this is the solution to the next puzzle that we're going to run into, which is to the north. In a strange cave with obscure patterns in the dusty floor. Visible items, a wooden crate, an evil medicine man. Throw the ball. Okay, pavoom! A huge fog of gray smoke fills the room. A tall figure can be made out. He looks at the medicine man and says, "Aha! I have found you, evil one." The smoke clears and the two are gone. That enables us to get the crate. And then we want to open the crate. We do this with the key that we got earlier. Something falls out. The crate then disappears. Try look. You will notice there is now a golden chain in the room. Obviously, we have the space, so let's get the chain. And then we're going to go back to where we can drop our treasures, which is south to the huge chasm, south again, in a deep chasm with the alcove to the north. Continue going south to the majestic chamber, which serves as an entrance to the cave. South to the rocky flat, where we can go west. This is where we got the food. Go south. And south, where we can start dropping things. Let's start by looking at what we are carrying. So we want to drop the antlers, drop the key, drop the spices, drop the chain, and drop the ruby. In order to be safe, we notice we are carrying a shining lantern and an iron pick. Nothing else. So it is long walk time back to where the ring was found. And that is north along the shore, north again, to the tall grass where we go east to standing on a rocky flat. Here we go north again, into the majestic chamber, east, the rough sloping passage, east again. This is the high cavern with the ceiling so high that you can't even see it, but there's the eerie red light. We are going to go north. This is the stalactite room, east, in a wide valley with moss growth covering the floor, north, in a dark musty pit, north again, and get the ring. From here we go west to a dead end. Visible items, an enormous emerald. Obvious exits are east and south. Let's get the emerald, which is done with the pick. And then another long walk south. This is called a pebble room. The floor is made of loose pebbles. East. Dark musty pit. We are going to go south. And then west. South. West. West again. South. West. Back to where we got the food. South. And south. And this takes us back to where all the treasures have been being dropped, where we are going to drop the ring and drop the emerald. Now, I'm not sure if you remember in the beginning I said there were 11 treasures, so let's count them. Golden antlers, silver key, jewel-encrusted coconut, rare spices, Cuban cigars, golden chain, enormous emerald, gold ring, mammoth ruby, golden feather, and a priceless giraffe skin. That is 11 treasures, so quit. Do you really want to quit now? Yes. You scored 140 out of a maximum of 140. I bow my head in tribute. You could be a wizard. Pick up your application form at the nearby adventure market. Try some other Greg Hassett adventures. They are Journey to the Center of the Earth, The House of Seven Gables, Entry into King Tut's Tomb, Sorcerer's Castle, Voyage to Atlantis. Call Mad Hatter Software to place an order. 617-682-8131. Play again, yes or no. I would like to know why it was that so many of the games and the creators of the games back in the day were so pretentious as to assume that completing their game was such a complicated task that someone who accomplished it deserved some form of special praise. Yes, some games have actually been hard to complete, but most of them, they're really quite easy. And this one was no exception. Not only is it simply written, it has every clue you need to be able to solve it handed to you just by exploring. Now, I honestly have not seen this level of hand-holding, even in the games by Sierra Online that were written specifically to provide kids an entry-level game. But that said, for being written by a 12 to 13-year-old, this game accomplishes size and scope quite well. It's not a one-trick pony. There are various environments to explore, and often the solution to a puzzle is given to you simply by going to a different route. This encourages exploration, something a lot of the later games tend to forget. Overall, I would give this game a solid 6 out of 10, which, for you math whizzes out there, reduces to the lowest common denominator fraction 3 of 5. And it makes me want to spend more time exploring more indie content from that era with you. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment, request. Seriously, do it now. Blah, 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 blah. And I look forward to our next adventure together.